Now, this is the real tense time. Once they get out there, they're on their own, relaxed on the way to the barrier. They'll settle down. By the time the barrier goes up, it'll just be like another race to them. That's how I used to treat it, and I think pretty sure that's how these guys will be treating it.
What about confidence boosting, Mel? Do you try and con yourself a bit that your horse has got a terrific chance that you're going to win?
Oh, yeah, my word, you do. And one thing leading into a race like that, winners breed confidence. So Shane Dye is going out there on a real high at the moment. If you're having a good trot, things happen to fall into place. But really, I think the jocks at the moment, all of them would be even Mick probably, a few butterflies at the moment, because this is the whole build-up. Once they're out there, they'll just treat it like another race.
There's the Albury mare, Auntie Mary, Simon O'Donnell's pick. I haven't checked with him yet, but I'm sure he has an Auntie Mary.
I think Simon O'Donnell's got a serious problem, but I don't want to say too much about that. Auntie Mary, she runs good in these races. The mile at Randwick might suit her. She will get home in the race really good, but whether she can, I keep coming back to that class factor. You know, she's a very, very good mare, runs good in these races, probably got a rough hope.
Yeah, well, they've all probably got a chance. It's hard to pick these big Randwick miles. Malcolm rode three of the winners of the Epsom. Imposing, he won an Epsom, Mel, didn't he?
Yeah, he won an Epsom, but he was a sensational horse. He's a horse very similar to Sprint By,
That's
actually.
What I was just going to bring that to mind. He was a horse that could hold up and sprint very quickly, and I think that's the closest comparison I could make to Sprint By.
Yeah, well, when I rode Imposing, he drew about 10 alley, and I was camped back off the speed running about 5th or 6th, and he relaxed once he got there. I had a little bit of cover. I just brought him to the outside when I straightened, and he accelerated and put 2 lengths on him, and it was the end of the section. Now, that's what I sort of predict Sprint By can do, and if he can do that, that's what'll win him the race.
We're a day too late. We should have pulled out that video and showed it to Glenn Boss, eh?
I think Glenn knows what it's all about. I think he knows where he wants to be.
That little fellow there is Chrissy Muntz, the smallest of all, followed by Shane Dye as they go out to talk to the connections. It'll only be a minute or two now before these jocks mount for the Epsom Handicap. And it's big prize money. Ray Murray, though, the chief stewards, let them know that don't let the prize money influence your decisions, and he'll fine the winning jockey his winning percentage if he knocks anything down. There's Mick Dittman. He's knocked a few down these days, but never on purpose. Mick's like Malcolm was a very competitive rider. Is that fair comment, Mel?
That's a great comment. That's what it's all about, being a great competitor, and there's none better than that bloke on the screen at the moment. He's one of the toughest I've ever ridden against, and one of the best I've ever ridden against. And that's when they all just come out together then, that's where they'd been in the steward's room. So they've got their little lecture.
Well, I'll say this about Mick. He's a man's man. He doesn't ask any quarter and he doesn't give any. There's the Hong Kong jockey, Jackie Shea.
Yeah, Jackie Shea, and I like the size of the cigar in
the owner's hand.
The owner's hand, just coming out of his mouth. It's a beauty. But I'd like to see this horse run well for Jackie. This owner is a very, very loyal guy, Sonny, and I think it's a great credit to him that there's still that much loyalty about to bring him over to ride this horse, you know.
You can't knock that, Mel. No, you cannot knock that.
I think it's one thing in racing that has gone out of it. There's Dane Wynn on picture now. He looks absolutely beautiful, but one thing that has gone out of the racing from a jock's point of view is that loyalty factor, whereas years ago everyone was so loyal. Now it's nice to see. I really take my hat off to Sonny, because it's something I feel that's very, very nice in the industry, that loyalty.
Okay, and there's Cohort along there, TAB number 8. Cohort wearing the Cerise blinkers, and he'll carry the Cerise colours of Jack and Bob Ingham, the Chicken Kings, the owners of Woodland Stud, who are the Australia's biggest racehorse owners. They own more horses than anyone else, and Jack and Bob have a lot of success with their private trainer, John Hawkes, out at Warwick Farm. Cohort will be ridden by Grant Cooksley. There's Star Dancers jockey mounting at the moment, Wayne Harris. Wayne was in the sauna earlier in the day to make sure he rode this horse at the correct weight.
Wayne's always in the sauna, isn't he? Poor Wayne.
He has trouble. I don't think as much as Shane Scriven.
No, poor Shane certainly has some troubles. I had a look at Grant Cooksley in the room earlier, and he'd been in the sauna, so there's a few of them doing it a bit tough here today. But at the moment, they'd be doing it a bit tough because they're all a little bit on edge at the moment.
Yeah, Sprint By goes past us. There's Cohort in centre screen. Cohort and the Cerise, as I told you. Auntie Mary with the big A on her back. And there's the top weight, TAB number 1, Pharaoh. Always he looks a treat. And here's Jockey, is the man we spoke about a moment ago. Ace Queensland Hoop. I think he's as good a rider as there is Shane Scriven. There's Jackie Shea on Danewin. Jackie does look a little bit nervy.
Jackie always looks like that, Ken. I don't think he's too worried about it. He's drawn an outside alley. I think he's...
I'd give him $20 to smile even.
Yeah, no, he won't. You should have... Last year I had the job to interview him after the Champion Stakes. That was a difficult one. Jackie, with an outside alley, I'm pretty sure he'll go forward today and just hope that they spread out and he can slot in somewhere. He knows what he's got to do. Whether he's up to the task or not, whether they're looking for him to keep him out, that's a different story.
Well, he won the Group 1 Rosehill Guineas on the horse, and he run the Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes on the horse, so he certainly had some success. There's number 17, Persian Flyer, with another man of the moment, a man of the minute, Shane Dye.
Yeah, well, he certainly don't worry about big races, Shane. He's a great competitor, and he don't look too worried about anything. He'd be taking everything in his stride and just probably hoping he can beat Danewin.
As you said, he's a man of confidence. He'd be saying to himself, look, they think this is a roughie. I've got nothing to lose. I can try something different. I can drop him out and switch straight to the outside. And that's what you were saying. You know, when your confidence is there, you might do those things.
When your confidence is there, Ken, as a jockey, from a jockey's point of view, you can just about do anything. You put the horse in a position and something will happen that everything just falls into place. That's the way it works.
But you still do need the mater.
Oh, yes, you've got to have the cattle under you. One thing I can guarantee you, Shane will put this in a spot where this horse can win. Whether he's good enough to win, that's a different story.
Yeah, it's always a different story. I think you run very, very well, Persian Fly, but he's probably got the right sort of horse to win this, because he'll drop out and come home. But I just doubt if he's quite good enough. That's Hedge that was just going out there in the black and white. Hedge is another runner of the Ingham brothers. Ahead of him is Rembetica, who's the likely leader in the yellow with the red braces and the blue cap, and followed along by Jamia. After Jamia comes Nick's Joy.
Gee, you've got a good memory with all these colours, Steffi. You should have been a race caller.
I've been coming to the races long enough. I don't know much else, so I've got to know a few things, Mel.
Mate, you've probably backed all of them. That's why you know their colours.
I reckon I've backed them all a couple of times over, but not enough when they win. But I'm going to back a winner this time. I'm going to back Sprint By. He's my tip to win the 1995 Epsom Handicap. We'll be back in a moment to see the running of this great 1600-metre race from Royal Randwick. Well, as the bugler blows them onto the track, they're over now behind the barrier for the running of the Epsom. I think I'll just run down this tote board again in case you've had an interest, and I'm sure you have. $34 for Pharaoh, $9 for Danewin, $15 for Star Dancer, $6.50 for Taradu, pretty tight. Mr. Marconi in a little, about $13.70 now, to be honest. Sprint By, just over $5.50. Seascay, $17. Sprint By's favourite on the tote now. $17 for Seascay, 26 Cohort, 15 Denarani, 13 Simon's Tip Auntie Mary, 67 My Diamond Rouge. Juggler, pretty firm, $7.80, up to $8. Rembetica at $101. Hedge, 17. Jamia, 100. Nick's Joy, 17. Persian Fly, about $25.50. Salivate, $34. Final Tempo, 200 to 1. And Vital Consent, 67 to 1. And of course the two reserves weren't required, Shuganoff and Brawago. A riding change, Darryl McClellan is not riding today, and on number 13 Rembetica is Corey Brown. Shane Dye is riding Persian Flyer. I wonder what he thinks the tactics are needed for that horse to win the Epsom Handicap.
Race 6, the Epsom Handicap. Doesn't matter if you draw wide in this, as long as you've got cover. You've got 700 metres to the first turn. You've got to get behind a horse till then. So the outside horses aren't really disadvantaged, because the inside horses can get chopped out. That's what you've got to watch for. The race begins at the half mile. You want to get away from following a tired horse and get behind a horse which is going good. A horse like Juggler will be back in the field, but I'm sure he'll storm home. He doesn't want to make his run before the rise. That's the next vital clue in finding the Epsom winner. Wait for the last crack at them. The three main chances are Taradu, Sprint By and Juggler, who will be finishing very, very strong.
Yeah, they're the three favourites in the market too, Sprint By, Taradu and Juggler. Harry Troy's over behind the barrier. Harry, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ken.
Anything particular happen or anything particularly catch your eye as we look at Mr. Marconi on screen?
Well, Ken, what a difficult assignment, mate. A number of these runners look magnificent. Look, if you're going on, look, there's plenty you could have your cash on. I guess you can't have an all. I like the look of the bottom weight, the lightly weighted Nick's Joy. Juggler looks very well. Simon Marshall's tip, Simon O'Donnell's tip, sorry, Auntie Mary looks very well, as do the favoured ones, Taradu and Sprint By. And Dane Win, mate, I'm not going to write him off, Dane Win. You can't pick them all. I've got to stick with Sprint By. I've got him just ahead of Juggler, and I'm putting Dane Win in for third. I know he needs some luck, but he's a class horse.
Yeah, and he looks a treat, Harry, doesn't he?
He certainly does, mate, and, you know, barriers mightn't be as important as we think the way the pattern of racing is today.
Well, there's Pharaoh going in. Only these for Mr. Marconi to join the line. John Tapp's ready. Here he is.
Good, Ken. All set for the Cannon Epsom. And the starter, Billy Cooper, coming over towards his rostrum now to release the field as Mr. Marconi goes up to complete this very big lineup. Now they steady. Off and running in the Cannon Epsom. Taradu made a mess of the start. And so did Rembetica. Rembetica virtually stayed in the barrier. He missed it about 12 lengths and Taradu missed it 3 or 4. Beginning very quickly, Sprint By, Final Tempo, fast away, so is Cohort. There's Dane Win rushing forward from a wide barrier. Nick's Joy getting up on the fence to join those leaders, and then Hedge and My Diamond Rouge, and just behind those, Vital Consent, followed by Danarani, Seascape from Auntie Mary. Star Dancer back midfield, followed by Salivate. Pharaoh's in that bunch. A long gap to Jamia, Mr. Marconi, Juggler ridden back in the field, followed by Taradu, and then Persian Flyer, and Rembetica is now tacking on at the tail of the field. Around the first bend in the Epsom, and Dane Win goes to the lead. Dane Win has come right over from the outside gate to take up the running from Final Tempo. Nick's Joy, Head just prominent. A length to Cohort, followed by Sprint By on the outside of My Diamond Rouge, and then Danarani. Vital Consent 3 deep. Auntie Mary midfield on the inside of Seascape, followed by Pharaoh, Star Dancer, Mr. Marconi. Out wide Jamia, followed by Salivate, and then Juggler, Taradu. Persian Flyer hard ridden second last, and Rembetica last as they turn for home. Straightening up, and Dane Win the leader over Nick's Joy. Hedge on the outside. On the fence, My Diamond Rouge. Here's Vital Consent and Sprint By now putting in their runs as they come to the 200 mark. And Nick's Joy headed Dane Win. Nick's Joy and Dane Win are fighting it out there. Clear of Sprint By and Vital Consent. It's Nick's Joy just the leader over Dane Win as they get near home. Vital Consent and Juggler is motoring home, but Nick's Joy in front, and Nick's Joy won the Epsom over Dane Win. Juggler third, followed by Star Dancer, Danarani, Sprint By. Then Seascape, Mr. Marconi, Auntie Mary, Taradu blew his chances at the start, followed by My Diamond Rouge, then Head, Salivate, Persian Flyer, Pharaoh, Jamia, Final Tempo, Rembetica, and Cohort last in the Cannon Epsom Handicap for 1995. These big miles take your voice away. Nick's Joy, what a triumph for trainer John Shord. Jockey Chris Muntz, who waved his whip to the crowd as he went past the post, and what an imaginative ride by Jackie Share on Dane Win. Full marks to him. He gave Dane Win the best possible hope from that wide gate, but Nick's Joy got a heap of weight off Dane Win, and that made the difference. Nick's Joy number 16, $18 and $5.30. Dane Win second will pay $3.10, and Juggler number 12 to pay a place dividend of $3.30. And Ken, little Chrissy Muntz, as you said earlier, the smallest jockey in the Epsom, has won the big Group 1 mile.
And John, I just don't know how to work it out. I took 3 feature doubles with him this morning, so I'm alive in that. I said on the radio this morning that I thought he was by far the best roughie. When I got here to Randwick and saw what was happening to the rails, he drew barrier 1. I said, well, I won't be having anything on him, Malcolm.
That's the luck of the draw, that's racing.
Exactly right. And as we see them here, it's Dane Win from the inside. Joining Nick's Joy is joining him on the outside. Further out in the red cap is Sprint By. He collapsed. He didn't go on as we thought he might. And Juggler finished up flashing down the outside. But the winner was Chrissy Muntz on Nick's Joy. Here he is with Harry Troy.
Very excited, Chris Muntz with me here after kicking Nick's Joy home in the Epsom Handicap. Good on you, Chris.
Thanks, H, mate. This is a dream come true. Don't worry about that.
Well, mate, it's well documented. You've put in plenty of hard work trying to get a go here in Sydney, and it's all coming together now with the Group 1 Epsom today.
Yeah, mate, you know, like I said, it's a dream come true. I was just saying to Mick, it happened too easy. I didn't think they were that easy to win, but, mate, I just hope they keep coming.
You had a lovely run in the race.
Had a beautiful run, H. You know, I tracked Dane Win, and I thought if there was any horse I wanted to follow, he was the one. Mate, got off his heels at the top of the straight, and it was all over.
Good on you, mate. I'll let you go now to enjoy the moment.
Thanks, mate. I'd like to give a special thanks to my wife. She's here with the little fella. I love you, darling.
There he goes, Ken, a very excited Chris Muntz. His fourth Group 1 win, he tells me.
Yeah, fourth Group 1 win, and you can hardly see him above the horse when you're looking at them head on, Malcolm.
No, good luck to Muncie, but the bloke I'm excited about is the trainer, Johnny Short. He wouldn't have won that much prize money in the 20 years he's been training. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It's good to see a battler win a big race, and Nick's Joy never let them down today. He put up a sensational performance, and I think we've got to make special mention of Dane Wynn. What a great performance. He led them up, he did all the hard work, he was stuck over on the rails where he's sure it's not quite as good, and he just fought on and fought on.
Yeah, he's a very good horse, Dane Wynn, and look, there was nothing really wrong with Jackie's ride. He had to go forward, he made a decision, he went forward. When Rembedica missed the start, I think it upset everybody because they were waiting for him to show up in the lead somewhere. At least Jackie went forward. He's a great horse, and the pull in the weights, he was just too good, Nick's Joy.
He was, and there's Chris Muntz bringing Nick's Joy back. He gives him a kiss. And why wouldn't you, Chris? Plenty of reasons to give him that good kiss. Malcolm, first prize money to win an Epsom handicap is $340,000, and the jockey usually gets 10%, so 34 grand. It's not a bad minute and a half's work.
That'll make anyone smile, Ken. It was worth about 100,000 when I won my 340,000 now. Fantastic. No wonder he's smiling.
Hold on, we'll throw in for you.
Oh, thanks, mate.
That Chris Muntz dismounts from number 16, Nick's Joy, greeted by the strapper and the trainer, John Short. And, well, Johnny, you're entitled to smile too. As Malcolm said, a real battler. We don't think he's won 340,000 in his 20 years of training, but he's won it here in 1 minute, 34.91 seconds at Randwick today, because that's the time it took his star charge, Nick's Joy, to run the distance. Chris Muntz, well, Chris is a terrific little rider. The rider of Brave Warrior, top rider in Brisbane for many seasons. I reckon he stands about 4'9", but he's 4'9", a pocket dynamo, as you see him walk across the enclosure there to weigh in. Followed along by Ray Murray, the chief steward, formerly the chief steward in Brisbane. They know each other very, very well. Chris Muntz, top horseman, and the winner of the biggest race at Randwick today, the Epsom Handicap, the Kennan Epsom Handicap of 1995. We'll take a break now and then come back with more racing on this special edition of the Wide World of Sports.
Online.
Don't you love great sport pictures? And this is just one of them, the Epsom Handicap. Chris Muntz aboard Nick's Joy wins the Epsom here today. And what a ride and what a horse. And the elation from this fellow who's been around for a long, long time. Came to Sydney to try his luck down here, see if he could mix it with the boys in the big smoke. And he's done that so very, very well. Winning this big race here today. And watch him as he goes past the line. This is fantastic. Great reaction. This is the sort of thing that we love to see in racing. It's the joy of winning and the joy of seeing a fellow do so very well, as Chris Muntz has done here today. Nick's Joy paid $18.40 and $5.30. Dane Wynn, terrific run there, $3.10. And Juggler, $3.30. Terrific race, and that was the Epsom. We've just seen it. Okay, more from Royal Randwick right after the break.